Yes, so for this week's main topic, couldn't be more excited about this. You know, it is Disneyland's 70th anniversary celebration. The official day happened earlier this week, July 17th. We're recording this, of course, on July 20th. And we decided a while back, Michelle came up with this brilliant idea, because all of Michelle's ideas are brilliant, of doing a series, basically, if you know, you know, talking about various different things, different Disney parks, Disney Cruise Line, whatever, and just talking about the things that, if you know, right, Michelle?
That's right. Yeah, it just seems like there's so many ways to approach that, using that as a theme that it's going to be a fun series that we're going to have for people.
Right. It's going to be like a mix of hidden gems, unique moments,
Yeah.
overlooked details, niche experiences, stuff that, if you know, you
You
know.
know.
And with Disneyland's birthday being this week, we decided to focus on Disneyland, but specifically some of the Disneyland deep cuts.
Yeah, some things that, you may be aware of, but may not realize how much they really can enhance a trip, or you may not be aware of them, and now you'll know.
Or maybe you've stumbled across them at some point and it slips your mind. That happens to us all the time.
Mhm.
We're like, oh, this is a spot that we love. We need to remember this the next time we go here. And then we just, weeks go by and we forget. And then we stumble
Exactly.
across it again. We're like, oh, yeah,
Yeah.
we love this place. If you know, you know.
No.
So speaking of if you know, we all know about Sleeping Beauty Castle, Space Mountain, Big Thunder Mountain, the Matterhorn, of course. You're talking Disneyland, you know all those. But what about those things that aren't on the park map that you can find? The things that make you kind of feel like your own little secret when you're in Disneyland. So today we're sharing those Disneyland deep cuts with you. If you know,
You know.
you know. So first we're going to talk about hidden magic and kind of some mini shows that you might stumble across while you're at Disneyland. The kind of moments, if you're lucky, that you'll find maybe a surprise performance, some character comes around the corner, something you may stumble into that's kind of amazing that might turn your park day into something unforgettable, right, Michelle?
Yeah, I think that's a great way of describing it. Things that may bring the show to life a little bit more that you might not have thought about when you're planning your trip.
Right. So there are several of these things throughout Disneyland, especially if you're a Walt Disney World fan and you're going to Disneyland for the first time, that you may not be the kind of things that you experience at Magic Kingdom, but you will experience at Disneyland Park. One of the things that is a treat that most people skim over because you're so busy at the park, it happens right on Main Street, USA, and that is the flag retreat celebration, right, Michelle?
Yes, it's something that happens every day.
Every day out there, usually there's the band they're playing there. Oftentimes it is the Dapper Dans there, and oftentimes there are veterans there. And it's a giant ceremony as they lower the American flag right there, right near in front of the train station on Main Street, USA.
Yeah, it's something that it's a long time tradition there, and it definitely brings all the feels.
Mhm. Yeah, it's always emotional. It's always great, and it's always worth your time to take the detour if you're going to stay in the park. If you're coming back into the park, if you're on your way exiting out of the park, stop there, pause there, find out when it's going to be, and check it out because it's really worth your time.
Yeah,
If you know, you know.
that's right. Yeah, it's usually around the 5 o'clock-ish time, but like Tom mentioned, it's always good to find out ahead of time so you can plan to be there.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Do you have something there, Michelle?
I do. So one I just kind of clumped all together is the live musicians, and how a lot of times people just walk past those performances because they're very much ready to go on some other adventure. But these things are really special and can make the feelings in the parks that much more enriched. For example, the Disneyland band. And those vibes can change whether you're watching them down in front of the castle or in front of the train station or wherever. It's really, really a special situation. They don't play just your traditional marching band kind of songs. They use that kind of tone, but they're playing other songs that you will love. Another one, and I know a lot of people think about these, but again, do you really take the time to appreciate their shows are the Dapper Dans. Whether they're stationed somewhere or riding down one of the Main Street vehicles, they are really fun. And some lesser known ones are the Bootstrappers over in New Orleans Square. They're kind of like a piratey
Hmm. Hmm.
foursome, usually doing like sea shanty type songs. But the common thread with all of these musicians playing is that they are really enhancing the storytelling in the park. And, subconsciously, they're creating that energy and story for the guests who are coming around. And they are all super talented and they very much are showmen. So they like to perform not just by playing the music, by acting things out or getting the audience involved. And it's something that again, a lot of times you might stop for a moment, but to really take in their show is something really special. And plus, there's nothing like live music, right? I mean, yes, it's fun to hear the background music loops going on down Main Street or whatever, but having live music is really something quite special,
Hmm.
and you're not paying extra for it. It's just there for you. The good thing is the app often gives you show times for a lot of these performers and where they're going to be, but you'll also find them spontaneously popping up from time to time throughout your visit. And take the moment to really enjoy them because if you know, you know.
Yeah, and if you know that another one of the bands that will sometimes appear there is the Pearly Band from Mary Poppins, right from the Jolly Holiday segment of Mary Poppins. The Pearly Band will often show up sometimes in similar locations as to where you'll see the Disneyland Band, but often you'll see the Pearly Band. And if you know, when the Pearly Band's around, often a certain magical nanny is around as well as maybe her accompaniment of Bert as well.
Mhm.
So check that out. If you're ever walking around the hub, especially near the Jolly Holiday Bakery, you may see the Pearly Band around there as
Yeah,
well. And
exactly. Good point.
speaking of characters, another thing I love about Disneyland is the roaming characters. You can see them in so many portions of the park. You get them sometimes at Walt Disney World, not as much as you like, but man, when you go to Disneyland itself, they're around virtually every corner. You can just stumble upon a random character that you love and get a photo out in the wild of these characters. If you know the
You know.
roaming characters, you know.
Yeah, and what's really great is they're, not just there in the mornings, but you can catch them at different times of the day. And like you mentioned, honey, they are there more than what you would experience over at Walt Disney World. And it just is such a treat.
Yep. And those just you'll stumble across one and you're like, wow, here's the evil queen. Amazing. Wow, here's Cruella. She just roasted me. Fantastic. If you know, you know. Do you have another from this segment?
No, not really. I think that, I kind of clumped together a bunch of them there.
I
What?
got one more.
All right.
That is, if we talked about roaming characters, I'm going to talk about a stationary character that you can come across. If you stop by, maybe grab a Dole Whip, maybe a Bow Bun, something over a Tropical Hideaway, then you might get some good jokes from Rosita there. One of the birds, she's escaped the Enchanted Tiki Room. And now she's out there enjoying her time out of the Tropical Hideaway, watching the Jungle Cruise boats go by and entertaining guests with some of her own form of humor. If you know, you
You
know.
know.
It's so good. So good. So now that you had your mini show moment, let's take it easy, slow it down, explore some of the peaceful, calm places. I think the Dillos, our friends Frank and Jen, would call them pockets.
Right.
Yes. Some of the places that most guests don't realize are there, but they're when you find it and you get there, it's really soothing, wonderful, amazing, and it adds to that kind of serenity while you're in the park, right, Michelle?
Yeah, they're just really unique and special. And again, adding to your experience the feels that you have when you're at that park.
Yeah. So do you have some to start off with,
I do, and
Michelle?
it's funny you brought up about Rosita because my recommendation for a quiet, cozy place to go is Tropical Hideaway. And now, if you're going into the park, coming off of Main Street, you go just past the Enchanted Tiki Room, and it's on the left, on the same side, and it just is so charming. And a lot of people, I think, don't realize that they do open up when the park opens. So
Mhm.
you can go there early in the morning. Now, they bows hey, we enjoy them any time of day. I know they don't have the unique breakfast one that they used to have, but they still have some really tasty bows that you can enjoy, or even lumpia, any time of day. And same holds true, obviously, for Dole Whip.
Yeah.
Any time of day. But it is something very special. I feel like I never want to miss it. Where if you can get a table that's by the water side of the Jungle Cruise, so you're kind of getting in the adventure of both the Jungle Cruise, because you're seeing the boats there, and you have Rosito from the Enchanted Tiki Room, and you're just having both of those experiences nearby. It's just a fun place, but it is generally calm, especially in the mornings or later in the evenings.
Yeah, it's a great spot. It really is. It's a really nice spot. The food's pretty good. Yes, they don't have the Loco Moco bao anymore. At least it's not on the menu right now. But they do have other baos there that are very, very tasty. Do enjoy them. Dole Whip, never go wrong with the Dole Whip, especially there. You can get there. You can exit the Tiki Room and head there. Or yes, there's a way in on the other side by the Jungle Cruise. And it's a great spot. It really is a really wonderful spot. If you know. That's right.
What about you?
Yeah. So speaking of restaurant dining areas that are kind of calm, peaceful, serene, and from what I hear, we have not experienced it yet, but pretty good food. The Hungry Bear Barbecue Jamboree. If you go up on the top deck or on the side deck there, they have a spot there where you can grab some wonderful food from that spot and sit and just look out at the rivers of America and watch, Columbia sailing ship go by or the Mark Twain go by, and just enjoy your time there watching the peacefulness of that space. The rivers of America. We all know at Magic Kingdom, the rivers of America are going away. You still got it at Disneyland, and you can still enjoy it, especially right there.
Yes, and I know we're not talking about the food right now as part of the show here, but I do have to say we've enjoyed that restaurant before, but now that they have some much more revised, wonderful sounding dishes, we're looking forward to try those.
Yeah, we've seen reviews that they've been pretty good so far. Looking forward to trying it for ourselves once we get out there next year.
Yeah, but like you said, having that location, that again, I don't think a lot of people know to take advantage of sitting there and being able to experience something more in the park while you're eating your food.
That's for sure. For sure. Do you have another location that you can think of that's great for you?
Not necessarily. I mean, I think, I don't know. I was debating on whether to really talk about this one, but there is over by It's a Small World. There's a little area there that you can get a seat and people watch or whatever.
It's a little elevated area on the right-hand side if you're going from Fantasy. I had it on my list. We're going from Fantasyland to It's a Small World.
Yes. And so that's kind of a nice place, especially later in the evening too, when you want to see It's a Small World light up. And I know they have the special show now during the 70th anniversary, and it might get a little crowded there, but it is kind of a nice serene place to go, or if you just need to kind of take your breath and sit down and relax, there's kind of an area there.
Right. And sometimes that area near, especially really close to It's a Small World, is designated for a reserve spot. If you do a dining package or whatever, I don't know if that's the case right now, but we've been there before for a dining package I think we did it for Main Street Electrical Parade. A while back. So, but during the day, wide open, you can go there, sit and enjoy. I know I've sat there with my son, Nick, had a Mickey pretzel and just people watch. We love being out there at the parks and people watching, and that is a great spot to do so. So good choice. Another one, you may not know this, but if you head to the right side of Sleeping Beauty Castle, if you kind of do a walk around, it's great to walk through the castle. If you know, walking through the castle, phenomenal. But also if you go kind of to the right side, there's a little peaceful waterfall and a wishing well there. And you may hear Snow White's voice or maybe some dwarfs singing in that area if you happen to journey. If you know.
That is a spot that very few people either know about or experience. And I kind of thought you might have that one on your list, so I didn't really go into it. But it is just really sweet to go there and experience that.
One more just quick spot. If you are looking for a shaded area, it's often quite shaded. And people kind of pass it by. there's a little walkway in between the Matterhorn and Tomorrowland. So going from basically the hub to Tomorrowland towards the submarines there's kind of a little walkway there right by the Matterhorn. And there's usually a few benches there. And they're often shaded because they're shaded from the Matterhorn or maybe the building behind it, the restaurant at Tomorrowland. So it's a nice shady spot. If you can find an open bench there, it's a nice place to just sit for a little bit, cool off, listen to the sounds of the Matterhorn, enjoy a view of the Matterhorn. And it's not a path that's walked a lot, so you don't have as much foot traffic, maybe not as great people watching, but a nice place, calm place to kind of just relax for a couple moments.
Right. And I think that's near Pixie Hollow, right?
Pixie Hollow is kind of in that path. Pixie Hollow is closer to the castle, but
right.
Yes, it's along that path line.
Yeah. Which they just refurbished and reopened. So
yeah.
Nice.
So yeah. Awesome. So all right, let's go ahead and talk about some of the things that when you go to Disneyland or any Disney park you want to talk about. And that's, of course, ride. Some of the details of ride. There is, surprisingly, you might think about some rides that people don't even think about that are amazing. Maybe even some annual pass holders miss these sometimes or skim over them or haven't done them in years. Let's talk about some of those, talking about some of the regulars that may miss, right, Michelle?
Right. So one of the things that they have there, obviously people know about, is the King Arthur's Carousel. But one of the things that is, I think, especially unique about that is there is really a Mary Poppins horse there that you could ride. And that, again, it's something that's adding to the storytelling, right? You're part of it, you're experiencing it that way. And I think that's something really cool that they have, at the parks. I had a couple other things that are more than just the ride, but something special about the attractions that may make you. So many adventures of Winnie the Pooh, and heaven knows we've gone on that many times to help because it's one of Scott's favorites. But what I think a lot of people don't know, but if you know, is how they do have some evidence that Country Bear Jamboree was once there.
Right. So if you know, you know. Winnie the Pooh apparently decides to just take over other characters' rides. We know, if you know, at Magic Kingdom used to be Mr. Toad and now the Winnie the Pooh. Well, it didn't used to be a ride, but where the many adventures of Winnie the Pooh are now it's Bayou Country. Now it used to be Critter Country. Now it's Bayou Country. That used to house the Country Bear Jamboree at Disneyland. And not all the inhabitants of the Country Bear Jamboree have exited the location. If you know where to look, and if you know, you may see a couple, maybe 3 characters that you may have found there in the Country Bear Jamboree.
Right. Those were the mounted characters that you see during the show, and they are still there. It's not super obvious, and you have to know when to turn around and look behind you to see them. But it is fun to know that they left that there to honor that prior attraction there, and it's just something fun to look for when you're on the Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and give the spoiler here. So this is a spoiler alert. If you don't want to know, go ahead and skip about a minute ahead. But I'm going to tell you where you can see it. Now, usually it helps if you're in the front seat of the car. You might be able to see from the back seat, but the front seat's the best seat. As you're exiting the Heffalump and Woozles area, going through the door there, immediately as you exit, look up and behind you, and you will see those characters that we're talking about there. That's where you can find them.
Yeah, and it's really hard to get a picture of them. I mean, I think
it's too fast.
Yeah, it's fast, and the lighting isn't great, and we've tried many times,
but they're there. They're still there. I believe they're still there. The last time we were there, they were still there.
Yeah,
I assume they haven't taken them out. They are still there. So yeah, that's really cool.
One other thing I have, it's an attraction that people know about and tend to go to, and that's Snow White's Enchanted Wish. But one of the things you might not realize to keep an eye out for is that the evil queen sometimes appears in the window. She actually pulls the drapery aside so she can kind of see what's going on out there, keep an eye out on folks. So
Yeah.
it's just a little hidden gem that I think a lot of people don't know to look for when they're getting ready to go on that attraction.
As Michelle likes to say, look up.
That's
When you're in the parks, look
right.
up, and that's where you'll see the evil queen peeking out the window from time to time, occasionally.
Yes.
So,
What about you? What were some of the things you
I don't
have
have
for
a
here?
ton for this one. I mean, you kind of got me with the Country Bear
Mhm.
tie-in to Winnie the Pooh. I mean, there's generic hidden Mickeys, not generic, but you can find
Right.
hidden Mickeys through all the attractions. Those exist. Of course, that our favorite captain from Star Tours, Captain Rex, has gone through a career change and is now, of course, the DJ that you can find within Oga's Cantina. So that's something too. But not a ton for this. But my favorite one is the Country Bear nod
Yes.
inside the Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, for
Right,
sure.
right. I guess one other thing I would mention, I don't know if you're planning to talk about this in any other way, is the Autopia. I know that a lot of people know about it, and it's not like it doesn't get people to go there, but it really is more advanced experience, I think, personally, my personal opinion, um, from the one that's at Walt Disney World Magic Kingdom. One, because it's a longer track. You get to experience the attraction longer, but you also get to experience things like the monorail going overhead a lot of times. And when it does, it will beep its horn. And it's just something fun to be in that realm and experience that as well. And it's just something I think is some oftentimes too you see some cute little characters or other things that they seasonally or from time to time put out on the track that you can watch for.
Yeah. So if you know, back in the day, the Autopia, there used to be two different tracks at Disneyland. Eventually they combine. That's why it's longer than, like, you go to the Tomorrowland Speedway in Magic Kingdom. It seems like you get on and you're done. It's very short. But this is a very nice tool through the countryside, because of the fact that they combined, they had an Autopia track in Fantasyland and an Autopia track in Tomorrowland. They combine those tracks together to make one, and now it's a really nice country drive.
Yeah.
It's a much better attract. It's we always compare this attraction that is like another attraction at Walt Disney World versus Disneyland. That is one that is a significantly better ride for sure,
Right.
and worth your time when you're there. So if
Exactly.
you know,
You
you know.
know.
So that leads us, and especially your comment on the Matterhorn, leads us to more on the attractions, maybe some of the attractions that don't get ridden as much, or forget about, or forget how magical they are. They don't get the hype, but they're worth it, because if you know
You
some
know.
of these attractions. And since you brought up the Matterhorn, I'm going to start with that for a couple of, I mean, not the Matterhorn, but the monorail, for a couple of reasons. Because one, it's a great way to actually get into the park, especially when there's a time when the gates at the front are packed with people. If you can go to downtown Disney and catch the monorail from downtown Disney, you can go in through the gate there, hop on board it. If you're not necessarily looking to go down Main Street USA, which, let's face it, your first trip to Disneyland on the day,
Right.
or ever, or in a long time, you should do Main Street USA. But if you've been, or you've been recently, then this is a great way in. And it's also fantastic because the track going into the park winds around Tomorrowland and Fantasyland. You get great views of the Matterhorn, the lagoon where the submarines are. It's a Small World, Fantasyland, Tomorrowland. You get these wonderful, amazing views. It's kind of, if you think about going to Epcot on the monorail, how they sweep you in and give you that wonderful view. It's past Spaceship Earth and over towards, the World Showcase Lagoon and all that area around there. Those sweeping views that get you set up to go into the park. It's the same way for Disneyland. It's not just a transportation in, it's a wonderful attraction on its own.
Exactly. And I had it on my list as well too. I think people in the know will take the monorail in because there are a lot of there, one, usually the line to get onto the monorail, you have to scan in as if you're going into the park because you're going directly into the park on that monorail. And so you do have some people who don't realize that that isn't a way to get in. But like you said, the views you get to see that it guides you through is just really special.
Yeah, it's worth riding anyway. Just, you get those views. You get a little bit of, if you're taking the other side of it, not as great, but you get a little bit of views at Disney California Adventure Park as you're
Right.
going through there as well. But it is a great form of transportation, entrance into the park. And again, it sets you up for a wonderful day of seeing all the beauty of Disneyland as you enter in. So it's
Absolutely.
really, really nice for sure. Do you have others, Michelle?
I do. So, one of the what I feel is underrated attraction would be the Davy Crockett Explore canoes. I think a lot of people think, "Oh, I'm not going to go canoeing, or that's going to be a lot of work." It's really not a lot of work
It's a
because
little bit of an upper body workout, but yes.
not a ton. I mean, uh, first of all, there's other people in the boat helping, paddle and
Helping, quote unquote, helping. I've seen them paddle, helping. I don't know.
and you do have the cast member guide who's doing it, but it really is a different perspective on enjoying that waterway there and what you get to see in terms of the other sailing vessels that are going by you and everything. It is so unique that you get to have that experience right there. And it's never the same twice because you never know what ships are going through, when you're going to have to pause and wait for that and everything. And the different cast members bring their flavor to the experience as well. I just love it.
Yeah, me too. It's one of my favorite things to do when the weather is right. It needs to be the right weather for it, but it's spectacular and fun. And yes, despite people not seemingly have ever paddled a canoe in their lives, it's still, those guys are so patient and wonderful and amazing and making sure you get around there in a really nice, fun, enjoyable. And yet, yes, it's a little bit of a workout, but it's a relaxing time at the same time. So it's
Yeah.
fun.
I mean, it's not the biggest struggle, and because you're not trying to go fast, the whole experience is to appreciate where you are. And so it's not like, oh, we're in a race here. Although
Right.
they do, cast members do that, but
Yes, they do.
but
They
for
do.
guests, it's just a nice little jaunt, just
Yeah.
a little ride
It's
along the
fun.
water.
It's
Yeah.
fun. It's just another way to experience the rivers of America. Again, can't do it in the Magic Kingdom anymore. Take
Yeah.
advantage of it while you're at Disneyland and do it in different ways. Do
Yeah.
them all in all the ways. The Columbia sailing ship, do the Mark Twain, do the
Yeah.
canoes.
Because
for
they're all
sure.
different vibes. So.
Yep, absolutely.
Do you have any other attractions?
Storybook Land canal boats. Are you kidding me? They're the best. It's such a great trip through as a cast member narrates and tells the stories as you go through these miniature lands of all your favorite fairy tale movies that that you love. They're set up so well, amazing, and it just warms your heart as you're going through it. It's amazing. You should not skip that. I mean, sometimes that line will be. I think it's becoming. I think more people, if you know, or
Right.
know
Yeah,
now.
more of a cult following.
Yeah, that you need to get on this attraction. But it's definitely something that you need to experience during your visit to Disneyland.
I think a lot of people misperceive that it's just for kids.
No.
And so I think that's why a lot of times people, as adults pass it by because they think, oh, that's just a kiddie ride. And so not realizing that they can really get some appreciation from it as well.
They also have the Casey Jr. train there, which kind of goes through around the same
Mhm.
area, and that's cool too. But it's not as nice and peaceful and awesome as the actual canal boats are.
Or you go through Monstros.
That's right. That's right. You go right through Monstro's mouth.
Yeah.
For sure. And of course, the classic. I mean, I know it's not playing right now, but it's coming back in between Walt: A Magical Life. They're also going to be doing great moments with Mr. Lincoln. I mean, this is something that Walt desperately wanted in there. It's an amazing attraction. It's a great story of America, and of course, Abraham Lincoln himself, Walt's favorite president. And the animatronic still to this day, it was amazing in the 60s when it was there at the World's Fair, and it's amazing today. Definitely worth your time.
Yeah, we've said in the past, it's great that even though that attraction wasn't getting a lot of people through, and I'm hoping now more people will begin to enjoy it again. but they've updated the animatronics as technology improved. So they have continued to enhance that experience for the guests. So, and speaking of kind of that area, the Main Street vehicles
Oh yeah.
are not to be missed. They all give a different perspective. Personally, again, my humble opinion, favorite is the double-decker bus, especially when you can go on the top level and
Because
see Main
Michelle is
Street.
vertically challenged. So when
That's
she can
right.
get up at a higher level at any chance she gets, she will take advantage of that.
And again, it gives you a different perspective from just walking and looking up. There's, you can do that and experience it, and it'd be great and wonderful. This is also another way to experience that, especially in the holidays when they have the storefronts all decorated, whether it's the pumpkins. And I know one time you counted all of them. There's tons.
There's more than 200. More than
Yeah.
200 jack-o'-lanterns up there when I
Right. And, they're all different looking, and same thing around Christmas time or other, 4th of July holiday times. They really do deck things out, and it's another way to experience that. But the other forms of transportation on Main Street are equally fun. Sometimes you feel very much like you're being chauffeured, because it might just be you and the cast member driving you in one of the vehicles. But it is fun. It is a fun way to experience it. It's fun to be in the car and watching, people have to move aside because the horn's going off, and people are very respectful and allow that to happen at Disneyland. So it's definitely a treat.
Yeah, again, it's another thing, especially if you're a Walt Disney World fan and you're going to Disneyland for the first time. Yes, sometimes those vehicles get stopped at Disneyland, but it's less frequently there than it is at Magic Kingdom. Oftentimes at Magic Kingdom, you might be able to get a ride in them early in the morning, but as the crowds increase, those go away. Your opportunities go away fairly quickly. Disneyland, usually it's going for much of the day, so you'll have those opportunities to experience Main Street USA and the train stations area and the hub in a different form. And through, Michelle, again, she likes to look up. When you're on the top of the double-decker bus, you don't have to look up very far to see all those things. It gives you a different perspective on everything, as Michelle was mentioning.
Absolutely.
So I like that. That's a good choice as well.
Thank you.
So through the attractions now, of course, but we can't leave Disneyland. We just can't. We can't without having a little food, of course. Obviously, Disneyland, the churros, the Dole Whip, of course. But maybe there's some that maybe are a little bit more hidden, a little different than those churros, those Dole Whips, those turkey legs, those treats. What are those special kind of hidden gems that if you know? Michelle, what do you got for us?
I got a couple of them because I do think a lot of people are familiar with the eating locations there. But one of the ones that I don't know, especially if you're not from that area and you don't go to Disneyland often, is the Little Red Wagon there that has the world's best corn dogs. I mean, they are killer. You just cannot imagine how good these corn dogs are. And, even though it is popular, I think among locals, I think a lot of other people aren't aware of that location as a way to get some really yummy food.
Yeah, that's a good one. Oh, yeah. You got to get a corn dog. You got to get a corn dog when you're at Disneyland sometime during your trip. Got to get a corn dog. That's the greatest place to get it. You can get them at Corn Dog Castle. They're the same. They're both delicious, but there's something nice about getting it from the Little Red Wagon. I agree with you.
Exactly.
So, very cool.
I had one other that I thought was worth mentioning, and that is the Galactic Grill over in Tomorrowland, especially in the morning, because again, I think that's an area that people aren't, if they're coming in from Main Street, they may not be going that way, especially to look for food, but they do have a pretty yummy breakfast burrito there. They have it regular or plant-based. And there's that great outdoor seating area, but that is one of those that I think it kind of like the Tropical Hideaway. It hits both, right? It can be a calming, fun spot to go to, but it also has some great food to eat. Now, they have good food during the day as well, not just the breakfast time, but I think that's one of our favorite times.
Yeah, I mean, there was a while back when it was tough to find breakfast options at Disneyland when you're there. And we're driving from San Diego in the morning. It'd been a couple hours since we got up. We got to Disneyland, we did a couple things, and then we were hungry. And so, I'm not going to say they're the super special, there's amazing breakfast burritos, but they hit the spot, and it was a great place to find them was right there. So I agree with you.
Yeah, and it's one of those spots that Scott really feels
Yeah.
comfortable with and enjoys too. So another way to experience the food from the Galactic Grill is if you do the Tomorrowland Terrace package as well. But this, if you're not doing that in the evening, this is a fun location
Right.
to check out and get some good unique food.
And if you're taking the manor or the monorail in, it's
There you
right
go.
there as you
That's
exit
true.
the monorail. So you can get off and, okay, I'm going to get a breakfast burrito and move on.
Right.
I'm just going to save one thing for mine.
Yes.
Jolly Holiday combo. If you know,
You
know.
know.
I mean, there's nothing better than the Jolly Holiday combo. Amazing tomato soup, glorious grilled cheese sandwich. I mean, it's just comfort food right there for you. And the price is pretty darn good for those two things. If you know, you know. Yeah.
Definitely.
And also I want to, while you're there at Jolly Holiday Bakery, picking up that Jolly Holiday combo, it's not on the menu right now, but it will show up quite often. Sometimes as a special item. If the Matterhorn macaroon is there, pick that up as well. And then you definitely have, if you know, you have to take a picture of the Matterhorn macaroon with the Matterhorn in the background. It's just something you do. If you know, you know. It's so good. Any other food items you want to mention?
No, I think I kind of thought you might do Jolly Holiday, so that I skipped that one off. But yeah, can't speak highly enough about it. There are obviously a lot of the other quick service locations there that have wonderful food. I know right now during the celebrations, they have some specialty items as well. A lot of times they have specialty items for annual pass holders as well. So I think that's kind of cool that they do that there. But I think we really covered those. The nice thing about Jolly Holiday is they also do now mobile ordering, which is really great. I know that seating in that area can get very busy, especially during the meal times at lunchtime or dinner time. But in the morning, you can pick up some nice coffee there or some pastries and sit outside. And again, just people watch as the park begins to open.
Right. If you pick up a Dole Whip early and maybe you're not going to the Tropical Hideaway, that's another place to take your Dole Whip because it's right near the Enchanted Tiki Room as well. So it's a great spot. A couple of food items, snack items I want to bring up. If it's the holiday time, then you have to pick up one of the Disneyland gingerbread men. They are really, those cookies, phenomenal. Great gingerbread. I love the Walt Disney World gingerbread. These are much better gingerbread. And with dipped heads in a little bit of chocolate with Mickey ears on the top. They're fantastic, phenomenal, really, really good. We used to pick up multiples of them and bring them home and eat them throughout the week because we love them so much. The other thing, the Disneyland toffee that you can find is so good. It is soft, tasty, not too sweet, nutty, fantastic. Definitely pick up some Disneyland toffee while you're there, and when you're stopping at some of the confectionery shops there around because it's one of our favorite things in the world.
Exactly. Now that you mentioned that, I thought of another one is their cotton candy. A lot of times they have different flavors.
They have a Dole Whip cotton candy.
Yes. The holiday times they have a peppermint one, and they're always fun to experiment the different flavors that they offer.
I didn't bring that up because that's not my thing. I have no need for cotton candy, but Michelle loves her cotton candy. So yeah, definitely. If you like cotton candy, if you know for sure. So that's pretty much it. I think we've gone through a lot of stuff. We'd love to know yours. Maybe there's some things. I know there's a billion things we left off. If you know, maybe we forgot. Maybe we need to know.
Right.
Let us share them with us. We'll share them on an upcoming show for sure. Because if you know. So that is our walk through Disneyland, our Disneyland Deep Cuts. If you know.